they're going to go back to some other place where they happen to used to be addicted. So we have to conceive of this environment as a preparation for going there. We have to rehearse ways of dealing with that world. We have to send information home to people so that they can be able to participate in that process. We have to make give them realistic abilities to cope in the real world. And we have an active follow-up phone program to recognize that they need to be focused on doing that after they've left where we are. The second thing that's, I think, somewhat different, and you know, I'm not generally a spiritual kind of person. You don't look at me and think spiritual. But people, one simple answer to the question of why people quit addictions is because they have something more important in their life than the addiction. That's one simple answer. And I think very much about what people can find in their own lives that fills that bill. And the answer to that question varies very much for different people. So, what I think addiction is not some abstract discussion we're having here. Or some bullshit like Bruce making a rat park out of the whole world. What the fuck is he talking about? It's about translating what I know into specific techniques that I can work with people and train counselors to work with people to eliminate and reduce the event of addiction.
Again, what are the results of your efforts?
Well, you know, they're great. We have a very successful program.
Oh, that's vague and ambiguous.
Well, we call people up, and by the criteria of them not having used a substance for the last month, we have an 86% abstinence rate for the past month. However, I don't feel that's a fully comprehensive way of measuring things. What do I think is a fully comprehensive way? What do I care about?
Stop having a negative impact.
I want them to have a productive life. So in a way, abstinence doesn't fully measure what I'm concerned about. I need something more than that. And on the other hand, I'm not as upset by the absence of abstinence. We have an abstinence treatment program because wake up and smell the roses. You don't get on get on the internet and say we're going to teach your alcoholic husband to be a social drinker. That's just not how it's done, that line of work. But when we talk to people afterwards, I've trained the interviewers to ask them, and we have a protocol, have you used any substances, in the last whatever, since we last spoke to you? Then what do I ask?
How's that working for you? Are you lying?
How much did you use? What were the consequences? And my goals are, we didn't tell them to use it, but you won't believe it. People come up with that on their own. And some of the people, who are addicted to meth are drinking white wine. You're not allowed to do that in AA, but we're not as upset about that as some people. If they can drink wine in a moderate way. And we define our goal in this aftermath as making sure that if they do use again, that they don't think of it as an excuse for, nor are they moving in a direction of worse use till they get to the point that they enter the treatment program. That's failure. That's called relapse prevention and harm reduction. Our goal is, yes?
Just by that definition, do you agree with methadone programs then?
It's not, is my program a methadone program?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just wondering. I've been thinking like what you think about methadone. But
What do you think I think about methadone?
Well, I think by saying that if using another substance isn't being addicted to heroin, but maybe being...
Well, what would I be most concerned about in the methadone program? What would I be keyed into?
Negative impact.
Less impact.
What's that?
Less negative impact.
And what do you say? Man behind you.
Yeah, the same thing, that if it reduces the person's harm and unhappy life, if their life is.
You know, I try and be pragmatic about it,
Yeah, if their life is.
but here's where I differ from methadone maintenance people. A strong component of them say this, which I would never, ever, ever say to any human being in the world. They say you are biologically ordained to be addicted. You must continue to use methadone as your only alternative to being addicted to heroin. I would never say that to people. I mean, I wouldn't tell them it's my decision they should get. A certain number of people say, I'd like to get off methadone. And the difference between me and some people is they would say, you can't do that. Why would you want to get off that? You are an addict. You need something. Methadone's better than heroin. I would say, okay, let's try that. We can always move in a positive direction. If methadone has improved your life, that should enable you maybe to form better relationships, maybe to work, which will enable you also potentially to give up methadone. So that's the distinction for me.
I heard that you hung around the downtown east side last year too, and did you go to Insight and those programs, and what do you think about that?
Where did I go?
Did you go to the
The
injection?
supervisor.
I went to the injection room. What are you trying to get at, buddy?
I was just curious how you're
Well, you know, I've been in the room with people who've injected narcotics before.